Welcome students. It's a wonderful day. First of all, I wish to thank our Sivagasi branch chairman CA P. Selvaraj sir for giving me this opportunity, and I wish to thank our SBS ARC Sika sir, chairman and other members for making this class a possible one. So today we are going to see costing. In costing, we are going to see service costing or operating costing. Now, service costing or operating costing is one of the methods of costing. Operating or service costing is applicable only for service industries. Before a decade, people might not have seen these kinds of services from the day one of economic activities. Since these services are intangible in nature, people have not seen. So once the service tax, so government has started taxing the services, then people have realized, oh my God, so goods and services are having about 50% more than that sometimes. So how to ascertain the cost, how to control the cost for these services? Regarding this, that is being discussed in our service costing. So the first and foremost point we have to say is in service costing, both in the point of examination and also practical point of view, some points in service costing are tricky in nature. It will tip you off if you have not seen properly. Even a minute point you have missed out will not fetch you marks at all. So that's why, friends, service costing is at the same time it is so easy, very simple. If you are seeing a problem, you may see that these problems are very simple. Okay, just 10 lines, 11, 12 lines, just 10 to 15 lines. The whole problem is, but the marks given are more than 8 marks. So you can see that there is a very subtle point available. Subtle point might be there. This is very minute point you have to note. Okay. So intangibility is very important. So intangibility is the main feature of our service costing. Okay. So services can be categorized into many. For example, knowledge based services, asset based services. Example. So if you want to see an example, CA, our professional service is a knowledge based service. Doctors, so engineers, for planning. Okay. So these services are called knowledge based services. What about asset based services? So for example, Kalyana Mandapams, where a particular asset is being utilized for some time. For that you are paying the money. So there are many kinds like this. So project based, utility based services. So the invisibility in hotel industry or any other industry, even if they are dealing with products, the difference is, for example, a tea stall and a 5-star hotel. See the difference? The same tea charged in the tea stall 5 rupees, in the 5-star hotel 500 rupees. What is the difference? The same tea only, same product only. So what is the addition? The invisible services you are getting. So that's why we call that as service costing. Now, in the case of service costing, what is the difference between service costing and product costing, if you are asking? The main difference is intangibility that we are seeing. So because of this intangibility or invisibility, you can see that there is no stock of services. Services cannot be stored and rendered. So I cannot render the service at 12 o'clock and you can get the service at 2 o'clock. No, the main cost might be labor. It is not products, okay? It is not material, okay? Labor and overheads might be the major cost of these industries. So finding out each and every cost aspect of this particular services might be slightly complicated. So that's one of the main differences, because in the case of product costing we can easily identify this is the cost. So cost identification becomes very easy. So first thing, there are in service costing, first thing we have to do is finding out the cost unit. So since this is intangible, since the services are intangible, we have to actually identify the cost unit. For example, passenger kilometer. So in the case of transport industry, if you take in passenger kilometer, per passenger per kilometer, that is a cost unit that we are taking. Why? Why we cannot charge per kilometer? Why we cannot charge per passenger? Just like that. So you can see that if you take a bus, people can enter somewhere, exit somewhere. So uh, the bus may have a capacity of 60 passengers, but at a point of time, number of passengers will be only 30. So you have to accommodate all these kinds of assumptions. So how much is the seating capacity? How many people have occupied these seats at a point of time? And season, off season, so many differences. Okay? When you are entering a service, when you are going to Kodaikanal, you can see. So off season prices, season prices, different. Same services been provided. So how will you accommodate, or how will you fix this price? Each kilowatt hour. So patient per day, room per day, per head, per operation, per item. So per transaction for banks. So per room days for a mandapam, 1 day booking, 2 day bookings, for example, for nichaydartham, for marriage, like that. Okay. So per booking, insurance per policy, per claim, like that. So anywhere you are seeing any kind of industry, you are seeing that there is a cost unit. So you have to find this cost unit. This cost unit, you can see that it is a combined unit of two. So it is a combination of units. For example, here you can say passenger is a unit and kilometer is also a unit. These two combined together, we are making it as passenger kilometer. We can combine these units in two ways. One is absolute average method, weighted average method. So a lorry starts with a load of 20 metric tons of goods from station A. It unloads 8 empty in station B and balance goods in station C. On return trip, it reaches station A with a load of 16 metric tons, loaded at station C. The distance between A to B, B to C, and C to A are 80, 120 and 160 kilometers respectively. Compute absolute metric ton per kilometer and then commercial metric ton kilometer. In other words, weighted average metric ton kilometers. So it is like a triangle you are making, okay, A to B, B to C, and then C to A. 20 tons are loaded at A, then 8 tons are unloaded, 12 tons have been moved from B to C, then from C to A it is 16 tons. The capacity actually is might be more, 20 tons. So from the problem we are seeing that A to B is 80 kilometers and the load is 20 metric tons. And then from B to C it is 120 kilometers and 8 tons are unloaded. Please see this. 8 tons are unloaded. That means 12 metric tons are the balance. Okay? From C to A, it is 160 kilometers and 16 metric tons. So how to find out the absolute average? Absolute average is just add all the units, okay, corresponding units. So totally 360 kilometers. Totally how many, what is the weight? So the total weight comes to 48 metric tons. So the cost unit is per kilometer metric ton. So how many kilometers metric tons are being moved? Total is 360 kilometers, but not all the 360 kilometers we are having 48 metric tons. We are having an average. Okay, what is the average? The average comes to this 48 divided by 3. Okay. So how many trips? 3 trips. So now total kilometers covered is 360 kilometers, but by average we are having 316 metric tons. So the total, so average weight is equal to this 48 metric tons divided by 3, which is equal to 16 metric tons. So then what is the total kilometer metric tons? Is equal to 360 kilometers into 16 metric tons is equal to 5760 kilometer metric tons. So in other words, suppose if I am having 10,000 rupees, my cost is 10,000 rupees, or I want to charge, or I want to recover the cost of 10,000 rupees in this whole trip, then I have to charge per metric ton per kilometer. This is equal to, so cost per metric ton kilometer metric ton is equal to 10,000 divided by this 5760 metric tons kilometer metric tons is equal to 1 rupee 73 paise. So if a person loads just 1 ton for 10 kilometers, then you have to multiply, you have to charge him 17 rupees. So that's how we are calculating. Okay? Now let us use the weighted cost, okay, weighted average cost. So weighted average cost unit, how to find it? For the same problem, how you are finding out? So let us use the same problem. So A to B it is 80 kilometers 20 metric tons. B to C it is 120 kilometers 12 metric tons. C to A it is 160 and 16. So what you are going to do is, you are giving the same, we are giving the weight for the average. For example, weight to calculate the average. For example, 20 metric tons is being moved for, is being brought for 80 kilometers. Okay, 80 into 20, and 120 kilometers it is only 12, and for 160 kilometers it is only 16. So here you can find out the total comes to 5,600. Here you are getting 5,600 as the kilometer metric ton. So this is weighted average cost unit, weighted average cost unit. So the same cost of 10,000 rupees, now it will be charged as 10,000 rupees divided by 5,600. Now per kilometer metric ton here comes as 1.78, but which is scientific. The scientific method is commercial one, which is the weighted average cost. So what is this equivalent unit? For example, same service is rendered in different grades and charged differently. Then we have to convert all the units into an equivalent unit. For example, you are giving the same service, you are providing the same service in a theatre, but we are having first class, second class, might be AC, a balcony, something like that. Okay. So suppose we have 60 seats of first class, second class, third class. Let us take first class 60 seats, second class it is 120 seats, third class it is 150 seats, and we want to charge second class as 1.5 times of third class, and first class is 2 times of second class, suppose. So this is one time, this is 1.5 times of first class, third class, and this is 2 times of first class, suppose. This is 2 times of second class. What is the equivalent unit? So you want to find out what is the percent show equivalent unit. We have to convert this to either as a first class or everybody as a third class. If everybody has been taken as third class, then first class has to be converted like this. So 60 seats are there. So if you are saying how many times it is actually 2 into 1.5, or in other words it is 3 times. 60 seats of first class is equal to 180 seats of third class. That is nothing but that is the equivalent unit. Okay. So second class, we can see that 120 seats are there. Actually it is 1.5 times of third class. It is also equal to 180. Now third class, actually it is 150 and it is multiplied by 1. So we have 150 equivalent units of third class. The total comes to 510 equivalent units of taking third class as base. Suppose we take first class as the base for the equivalent units, then we have to slightly modify this calculation. So first class, second class, third class. Now first class is being taken as 1. If you take first class as taken as 1, then you can multiply this into this. Then second class it is 120. Second class is actually half of first class, or in other words first class is double of second class. So here you have to use 1 by 2. So which is equal to, again you can multiply this. Why we are using 0.5? Because it is 2 times. Now if you are converting second class to first class, 120 seats are actually equal to only 60. 120 seats, if you are collecting money, you are collecting actually only for equal to 60 seats of first class. That's why. Now here you can see it is equal to 1 by 3. So why it is 1 by 3? Actually it is 3 times of third class. So third class, if you are converting to first class, it becomes 1 by 3. So now you are multiplying this. Now if you add all, you can see that equivalent unit. Taking first class as the base. Now equivalent units are used when there are so many grades. So we are making into a single unit to apportion the total cost. Okay. So this I have taken from illustration number 7 of our book, and let us calculate the unit, cost unit alone. Okay. So let us read this problem. A lodging home is being run in a small hill station with 100 single rooms. So there are 100 single rooms. The home offers concessional rates during 6 off-season months. So off-season there are 6 months, and then season we have 6 months. During this period, half of the full room rent is charged. In the case of off-season, only half the rates are being charged, like season. Okay, so seasonal rate is 1, and then off-season price is 0.5. So that's what is being given in this problem. So during this period, half of the full room rent is charged. The management's profit margin is targeted at 20%. That might be in the problem. We are not concerned about that. Following are the cost estimates again. Let us forget about that also. Occupancy during the season is 80%, while off season is 40% only. So now we have to find out what is the cost unit. So how many room days are available? The cost unit is room days. So per day, per room, how much you are going to charge. So in other words, cost unit is room days. So you want to find out how many room days are there in a year, in a whole year. Okay. So assume a month is having 30 days. So totally how many days? How many days is equal to 12 months into 30? It's been given in the problem. So 360 days. So let us take off season and then season. Occupancy is 40% in the case of off season and 80% in the case of season. So then totally how many rooms are there? Rooms are 100. So 100 into 40% occupancy, only 40 rooms are occupied. Here the same 100 rooms occupied for 80%. So room days is equal to 40 rooms into 6 months into 30 days. So 7,200 room days are available. 80 rooms into 6 months into 30 days comes to 14,400 room days are available. Now you can see that off season is charged only 0.5. Season is charged to 1. So let us take off season rooms as the base. Okay. So off season room as base. If you take off season rooms as base, then the room days of equivalent room days. So in the case of off season, since this is taken as base, it is 1. But here, since season is charged double of off season, actually season 14,400 into 2. So which comes to 28,800. So when you are taking off season room as the base, equivalent room days of the total room days are 7,200 off season rooms, and then 14,400 season rooms is actually equivalent to 28,800 off season rooms. So total equivalent units. Total equivalent room days is equal to 36,000 room days. If you have taken off season room as base. Suppose if you take season room as base, then equivalent total off season room days. So the equivalent room days is equal to, this is equal to 7,200 into 0.5, because it is 0.5 times of season. So 3,600. So this one is 14,400. So if you take season room as the base, so total season room days available is equal to 18,000. So now after finding out the cost, we can accommodate a portion. So like this, you try to find out all the cost units for all the illustrations or various problems, and then if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So please ask about any doubts if you are having. So today you try to find out or try to calculate cost units for all the problems. Thank you, friends.